Hey everybody, how is it going? We are back. This live stream's a little later, but hopefully a lot of you tune in.
Yeah.
As you know, at Love and Relationship Podcast, our podcast is pretty much just about helping educate men and women on how to date better based off of our experience, based off of what other people have shared with us, and we react to videos on Mondays. So it's a very educational platform.
Yeah, and on Wednesdays and Fridays, it's just purely us speaking about our personal experiences, what we've learned along the way, and just hoping that we can inspire you to a better and longer lasting relationships. Because in this day and age, it doesn't seem to happen as often anymore. So we want to get people back together. We want to get these beautiful males and females gelling and bonding and just having the best, man, because we deserve to have
get together and stay together.
Yes, and stay together forever and ever and ever.
Yeah, stay together. That is the goal, is to get together, stay together. Those two go well together.
And you know what? Can I just, before we even kick this off, I just want to say, when I've met people older, when I say older, 70, 80 years old, and they've been with their partners for 45, 50 years. Oh my God, my heart melts. I'm just like, wow, it's so cool. It's so nice. They're like, look, don't think it's all been roses, but we've stuck through it. We've got through it because of our respect and love for one another, So I think we've always said respect is one of the greatest things to have in a relationship, and then build your love from respect. Too many people go into a relationship and after 2 days go, I love you. Well, you don't know the person.
Well, they build it backwards. They do the love first and not the respect. So
exactly.
It's like putting your pants on backwards. That's what they do when it comes on with that.
Absolutely.
I don't want that image of somebody putting on their pants backwards, but
I've got it already, Michael. I've got it already. You know what
I mean. Today's topic is a very interesting one, and this is why I'm glad that Anthea was able to join us on this one, is submitting to the wrong man.
What the negative effects of submitting to the wrong man, hey? What can happen in your life, and what all the things that can go wrong by doing that. Yeah. Oh dear.
Or willful cooperation to the wrong man. We can call it that. So this show is going to be a little different. I'm going to have Anthea start off to say what her definition of submission was then, what it is now, and how submitting to the wrong man, I don't know, I wouldn't say changed her perspective, but more of helped her understand some things.
Well, I suppose I've grown in my understanding and been able to see things through a different light. And if we start with, you said back then, to be honest with you, in my younger days, I didn't understand or didn't even know about submitting to a man. I knew nothing about that. I didn't. It's funny because I was watching something earlier on, and there's 20-year-olds and 21-year-olds who wanted to be in these relationships, and they were like, that's my life, I want this person to be my life partner, and they understood so much. And I was like, cool, where was I back then? Where was people educating me like us at that age? And I think because of not having the world-renowned internet, things were a lot simpler. We didn't really go into the nitty-gritty of things, and now we do. So I can't really speak about that. I can't really speak about back then, as in my understandings. I didn't have an understanding. I didn't really know what any of it meant. To me, it was just meet somebody, get together, and that was about as far as it went. I didn't really understand any more than that. But now when I think of a relationship and I think of submitting to my man, I think, well, the best form of it, or the best way forward for me, is to first of all vet the person and feel and understand whether I'm being respected. And how do I know I'm being respected? Because I'm being spoken to in a respectful manner. I'm not being shouted at any times. I am the man is setting up dates and taking me out and actually wanting to get to know me, asking me questions, and when I respond, listening to my answers and being able to repeat back to me what I've said, and not just making out as if he's listened and that was the end of it, you know. Because I think a lot of people, I think I've said this before, there's a lot of lip service that gets said, but they don't actually listen to what you said. So somebody who understands my needs, my desires, and being able to, I think first and foremost is how you're being treated by that person, because when you're not being treated right, let's say in those aspects, being spoken to with the wrong tone of voice, or being told what to do, not being asked or asking opinion, or, you know, what do you think, Han, or, you know, just something where you're interacting and they're actually getting you involved in the relationship. Because I've been on the other end where it's like, well, I want it this way and that's the end of that. And, or if I don't agree to something, then it's like walking on eggshells, because they just blow up and they don't want to be able to, they just want to be able to say what they want to say, end of story. Now, to me now, those kind of things are massive red flags. Like, I think with anything, like just a normal relationship without being romantic, you wouldn't have your friends speak to you in that manner. You wouldn't have them disrespect you. You wouldn't have them try and boss you about. And if they do, you come to a point where you go, I don't want to be in this friendship anymore, you know, because there's a lot of, I think I want to use the word abuse in an unconscious way. Like, they're not consciously understanding they're doing that. And people, a lot of women or men, accept being treated in the wrong way because they don't know no different. And they think that's what a relationship is. So does that kind of answer anything there, Michael?
It does, but you see, the interesting thing is you talked about a man who understands you, a man that's there for you, listens to you, but what are you doing for him? That's where the submission comes in, is what are you doing for him?
Oh, okay. I didn't, okay.
No, like your part was good, but it's like, also, if you're requiring all of this, which there's nothing wrong with what your requirements are, but it's like I read in a book, what are you willing to do to get what you want?
Yeah, but I think first and foremost, without doing anything, I think respect should be there regardless of whether you do something for somebody or not. If you're going to have any form of relationship, and I don't care what, you know, like I said, whether it's with your parents, with your cousins, your brothers, your sisters, romantic, the respect is number one. First and foremost, you don't necessarily have to do anything for somebody other than listen.
Yeah, but I will say this, though. It's more than that, because technically you still do have to do something to earn respect. It's not just given, it's earned, like anything else in life. So I guess when we were to put it into to dialects, when it comes to you submitting to a man, if you want all those requirements from a man, what are you showing him to say, I do want to be that respectful man? I do want to be.
I'm going to reciprocate it. I'm going to give it back. It's going to be exactly the same. I will mirror. It will be a mirror effect. So it's not that. If we both need to be respectful one another. We both need to listen to one another. We both need to understand one another's wants, needs, and desires. We both need to be compatible. We both need to be going in the same direction in life, and be to be able to compromise on things, to be able to listen, to, you know, not get irate, to be able to take your time before you answer something that doesn't sit right with you. It's building that relationship slowly but surely. So I will be doing the same for him, what he's doing for me. Like, I wouldn't expect him to be doing that for me, and then I turn up and become a horrible woman, you know, and speak to him with so much disrespect and don't listen to anything he says, because I wouldn't expect him to stay with me if that's how I'm showing up. So I expect it to be like a mirror effect as such.
But see, this is the thing. It never is. This is where it's going to get interesting, because men and women want different things from a relationship. Those things that you wanted are very baseline things, for sure. But think about it. You want a masculine man. You want a leader. You want those things, right? Those things are very important to you.
Yes, but then at the same point, then you can have the other side of the female side where I would want to be, if I've got a leader, then I'm going to naturally, I believe, become the feminine side to that. Because if you allow a man to lead, then you naturally go into your feminine energy. But if it's the other way around and your man is wanting you to lead, then you end up with the masculine energy. And that's where I've had it in the past. And
Mm.
I definitely believe that once you're with the right person and he's leading right and he shows you that love and respect as much as you're showing him that love and respect, then you will naturally want to listen to what he's got to say and want to take his lead. And I suppose it's
See,
this.
there we go. See how men and women want like different things, because for women it's more about the feelings, the experience, all those things. But for men, it's like men want peace. They want respect. Women want those things too, but we value them higher than you guys do, because you guys value love and, you know, all the romance and all those things. Us men on our side of the fence, it's like we value, and this is how we complement each other. We value respect, duty, and how that is branched into is being listened to, and that complements, like men and women complement each other in that thing. That's why every time I talk to a woman, what does submission look like to you? Oh, well, you know, it's he listens to me, he does this for me. But I'm like, but what are you doing for him? That's what it's always going to flip. Like, if you want those things, no one's telling you can't have them. But it's like, what are you doing for him and entail to get exchanged for what you want? It's a healthy exchange.
Yeah, absolutely. And you're right. And I think there is a base of what everybody wants, but I think in the same breath, everyone's different. So one man, if you go like you meet somebody, and I think I'm gonna go back a minute. So when you've met the right person who's for you, I think you naturally bounce off of one another and you kind of just naturally understand one another. I don't think there's really like a having to mold it into place and push it into place and bang it into place. I think you just naturally will take that time to listen to each other. And if something doesn't sit right with the guy and he comes to you and says, you know what, hun, like you just done that, you'd naturally not get your back up and be like, you know what, I respect you telling me that, and actually I will do different next time, or I will take that on board and I'll be very aware of what just happened and so I don't do it again. But I think if you're with the wrong person, there's going to be lockerheads because you're not understanding one another. Does that make sense?
Yeah, but we're never fully going to understand each other. The men are never going to fully understand the female experience, and the females are
No,
never going to fully understand the male experience. We can
no.
understand to a degree,
Yeah,
to a
absolutely.
small degree. That, because when people say, well, I want them to understand me, I'm not a woman. I'm never fully
No.
going to understand what it's like to go through time of the month, bear a child, you know, get unlimited attention from men.
But if a
That,
woman comes to you, Michael, and says to you, look, you know what, at that time of the month, I get really groggy, like,
Mhm.
so please excuse me if you see me getting a bit irate or you see me, my attitude has changed. Please don't take it personally. I'm doing what I can to make myself aware of this and try and control it. But actually, my hormones do go all over the place and it's not really controllable. Then I think you would take that to a different level to somebody not saying something and then all of a sudden just lashing out at you, right?
Well, I would have a conversation, because you can't, I'm not saying like towards you, but I'm saying you can't use that as a scapegoat saying, well, you know, this month I'm going to be acting like a bee. So if you get the backlash, just please understand. You know what I mean? Like unfortunately, the world doesn't move that way, because it's like, if I go to a store and I steal, and he's like, well, why did you do this? Well, you know what? I was just having a rough time in life. I needed to get some food for my family. It's like, no, the world doesn't spin that way. Like, there is a degree of an understanding. Like, if it is that time of the month, or you've given birth to a child, you're gonna feel like moody to some degree. But it's also taking the accountability to say, yeah, I might be moody, but I do have to still behave correctly.
Absolutely, that's what I'm saying, because
Yeah.
it's the accountability to say,
Yeah.
to actually sit down and say outright to your partner and just say, I'm working on this, I am aware of it. And I don't, you would never expect the other person just to take stuff. That doesn't sit right with me either. I wouldn't
Mm.
expect the person for me just to go and lash out completely and go, whoa, that's just the way it is. No, there's
No.
ways of saying things, and there's ways of portraying what you're trying to say as well, to say, look, at the end of the day, I've definitely got to say, Michael, that it is a time that where it's sometimes it's uncontrollable, and it doesn't mean that it's okay. But what are you like? If your hormones are doing that, um, it's not in our control in that sense. We can only be aware of it as women
Yeah.
and do our best, but it's not.
But
It's
see,
like,
I guess the question I would ask is, when a woman gets like that, what are you implementing so you don't behave that way? That would
well,
be the counter argument to say, I get it that you're working on it, but what are you doing?
see, I went through a stage where I was like, I realized how moody I would get, like, at certain points. So what I started to do was I'd switch my phone off and not communicate with anybody
That's
for
fair.
for the weekend, because I knew that by communicating or even getting in my car or going to the local supermarket was not a good idea, because somebody could just walk past and I'd be like, oh, and that's just not my character. So I thought, you know what? Until I understand how to deal with this and learn and navigate through my own emotions here, the hormones that are happening, I think it's time just to lock off on the weekend. And I'd done
Fair.
that for a number of months until I could understand it better. But I had to become aware of it first, because
Mm.
there are a lot of people who are not actually even aware of it. And even till today, there's times where I can feel myself getting really irate, and I'm thinking, hang on a sec, what is going on? And then I go, okay, I get it. I get it. I check the calendar and I'm like, right, I understand. Right, what are you going to do about it, Anthea? So I'm wondering, are we going a bit off subject here?
A little bit, where we're gonna get back on. I
Yeah,
I
it
got
just
it.
kind
But
of just
what?
dawned on me there.
No, that's fine. So where we're gonna go with this, because again, we went off topic, but it was an important thing to discuss. Submitting to the wrong man could be very dangerous for multiple reasons, right? And what I mean is, submitting to the wrong man is getting under his leadership, and he hasn't shown, there haven't been displays of good character long term. So when we date, we're looking for a suitable partner long term. And this man hasn't displayed any of those characters. He's not a good leader. Maybe he cusses and swears a lot. He's not a good provider. You're paying for majority of the dates. You're morally taking care of him. He doesn't treat you well and right, but you're still submitting to this man. You're still giving him the benefits of willful cooperation and submissiveness, right? And the issue with that is when you actually continue to keep doing that, you end up breaking your own heart. So then
Hmm.
once you've gone through that experience with one guy, you feel a little jaded. You're like, okay, I can bounce back. But then it happens again with guy number 2,
Hmm.
happens again with guy number 3, and it happens again with guy number 4. At this point, you're the denominator. You are. Because we cannot control who we attract, but we can control who we entertain. So you
Absolutely.
entertain those type of men, right? And that's why I'm saying that it is a problem when you submit to the wrong man, because you're never going to be able to vet somebody 100%, right?
No.
But you can do the best of your ability to do that. Now, if you're spiritual like Anthea, or you're like me, where you believe in God, you can use discernment. You can use something beyond your judgment, and obviously, again, get in your prayer closet and pray on that and say, hey, I need to make sure that this person is a good fit for my life. And I think for women, it's very detrimental, because especially if you've had your heart broken multiple times. Now, again, it's life. It happens. Your heart gets broken. But a lot of times, if you sit and reflect, you're like, it could have been avoided if I would have used discernment, or I would have vetted properly, or I would have used a little bit of wisdom.
And I think that is the main key point there. It is taking responsibility and not blaming the man and saying, well, and or it's that victim mentality again, where we turn around and say, oh, why me? Why do I keep attracting the wrong man? Why do this? But actually, I've been there, and I know that it's my fault. I took the time for these people. I gave them my time and attention, knowing that they're expecting me to be the leader, expecting me to provide, expecting me to drive us to places, expecting me to do everything, and I'm still entertaining the guy.
Yeah,
Like,
you
hello.
submitted to that. Exactly.
And
You
I
continue
submitted
to
to that.
submit.
Absolutely. And I can't blame them. I can't say, look, at the end of the day, one thing I need to say is you can't then go and like rip down their character to say, oh my goodness, like this guy was this and this. Yes, he was like that because you allowed him to be like that. That's the only reason why he was like that. Because if a lot of people will say, oh, after he left me, he went and found this woman and he treats her so different. Yeah, because she didn't allow him to do that. She didn't allow it. She
Well,
wasn't having none of it.
there's also another thing, and this is a self-reflection thing for a lot of women, because I hear this too. A lot of women will say, what does she have that I don't have?
Yeah.
She probably gives him a lot more peace than you did. And this is an attack on women, but it's like understanding that we all have to look at to say, maybe I'm not that peaceful. Maybe I'm too argumentative. Maybe I'm too needy. Maybe I'm too codependent, whatever it is. And you got to look at that and say, okay, I need to deal with that, because it's so easy to flip the coin and say, well, I did all this for him and he found a new woman, but he probably found a new woman that did more of the stuff than than he ever asked of you. He asked you to do these things and you're like, no. And she was probably more willfully cooperated.
Yeah, and I think that is a big key point, isn't it? It's actually being cooperated to what's been asked, what's been desired, what the needs are, listening, understanding, working alongside your partner. And if you're not, I mean, look, I've heard a story not that long ago where a lady was saying about she was with somebody for like 13 years and he just disappeared one day, and he just said, I'm leaving, and they just had a child together, only a couple of years old, and she couldn't understand, because as far as she was concerned, they had a great relationship, but he came all of it out of nowhere and saying that it wasn't the great relationship that she thought
That
it was.
happens.
And and she's still baffled about it today. So it's a shame, really, isn't it? Because if you actually think that your relationship is really cool and you really do love on your partner, and then that happens, I mean, what can I say?
Well, no, because we cannot control what someone else does, but what we can do is control the narrative of it. So what are you doing to protect your relationship? Are you having monthly conversations on ways and things that you can do to elevate the relationship? Those type of things. Like, what are you doing for that part?
Yeah, absolutely. I think that's a really key point.
That's what I think is important. And that's why I'm saying that when women submit to these bad boy Chads or bad boy Tyrone, oh, he makes me feel good, he makes me feel this, but what you don't understand is you're breaking your own heart. Do these men lead and lie to you, and some of them are malicious? Yes, I am not absolving them of their bad behavior, but it's like if somebody slaps you and you still continue to show up and you still keep getting slapped, whose fault is that?
Yeah, absolutely.
You know what I mean? I'm talking from a metaphorical point of view, not physically, but I'm saying that if it's like if somebody is mean to you and you still keep showing up, knowing that they're constantly mean to you, whose problem is that? That's a you problem.
It is a you problem. And there's a lot of people don't get this. They think they want to keep looking at the other person. That's why we always say this, is like, bring it back to yourself and understand, what are you allowing? Like, the difference between being treated like, like dirt to being treated really well. And if you've never experienced it, then get online and see the difference. Go and look at other people's relationships, ones that are successful and are being treated right, so you can get an understanding of what it is that you're looking for, because words don't always teach, life experience teaches. So, if you're actually seeing it and you're actually involved in being around that and spending time watching videos or listening to people who are in great relationships, hear what their experiences are, so then you've got an awareness. Because if you have never experienced it, you might not know any difference. So get that awareness in yourself, so that when somebody does approach you and you are looking to get to know somebody, you can see those red flags, and you don't have to submit to somebody who's going to be treating you like you're nothing and speaking to you like with so much disrespect. Like, once someone starts disrespecting you and you don't stop it, it will continue
You
until
get what you tolerate.
yeah, absolutely. And how we do one thing is how we do everything. So if we're allowing that one person to be like that, we're going to allow everybody else to do the same, and if you're going to have 5 people in your life, different types of relationships, and obviously I don't mean just romantic, I mean different work relationships, family relationships, and you allow one to treat you like that, then it's going to be more likely you're going to allow the others. And if you don't, then why are how comes you're allowing that, you're not allowing that one, but you're allowing that one? What's the difference? You are that same person. So, stand up for yourself and be super aware of how you're being treated and how you're treating people too, because it's not just about the other person. Because you've got to remember that everything, like a lot of life, is a mirror reflection. So what's going on inside you that's drawing that to you. Are you feeling unworthy? And if you are, you need to work on
I love
that.
that you said that, though, because when you keep submitting to the wrong men and they don't give you the commitment that it is you're looking for, you start to lean into unworthiness. Why am I not good enough? Why doesn't this man want to commit to me? What am I doing wrong? Am I ugly? And then you start breaking yourself down. They're not breaking you down. You're self-analyzing and breaking yourself down. Because I've always said that if somebody wants you, they won't make it difficult for you to find them. They won't make it difficult for you to be with them. That to me is that, like someone could come to you and tell you the nicest words. Oh, you're so pretty. You're so beautiful. I'd have your babies. I'd marry you. Blah, 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 blah. Right? They can give you the whole spiel. But what are they committing to? What are their actions showing you? How are they showing up for you? If they're telling you all those things, but they're doing completely opposite of that, they're literally showing you where you stand on their respect totem pole. It is here.
Yeah. And we don't need to question that. Just look at it. Just know by their actions.
But most people don't want to, because it's horrible to look at, to say, I'm submitting to this person, I'm cooperating with them, and they don't want me like that.
Yeah, absolutely.
They don't like me like that.
And it is a hard pill to swallow. Absolutely. However, we've got to put our big, I want to say big boy pants on.
Well, you could say big girl pants, whatever.
Big girl pants, that's the one.
You could say that, whatever, because it's just, again, at the end of the day, and this is where the accountability is, and we're trying to stop you ladies from submitting to the wrong men, because you're out here giving them the bedroom fun. You're out here cooking them the meals. You're out there, picking them up, driving them, whatever it may be.
Sending them money if they need it.
Yeah, whatever they need. But he's never given you the commitment you wanted. And he's never told you, like, okay, like, we're going to go out to dinner, and dates are actually happening. Yes. But yet you're still continuing your part, the bedroom fun, the folding of the laundry, all these things, being peaceful, all these things. But he's not reciprocating it back.
And I want people to stop thinking that by doing these things, he will change his mind. He will not change his mind. And as harsh as that sounds, I've been there. They don't change their mind. I've done everything.
Yeah, they
thinking
don't change, because if a man wants a woman, he will claim her as
he
quickly as
will.
possible.
He will claim you. And I don't like that word claim, but
It's just facts. He will commit to you. He will claim you.
yes,
And
commit.
what I mean claim is he will make you his girl.
Yeah, he will. He will. And he will say, I want you to be my girlfriend. Like, I want to be in a relationship
Well,
with you.
if how it usually works is if she likes you enough, she will ask you, "What are we?" He will reply, "You are my girl." That's what we've been doing.
Yeah, absolutely. That's how my relationships went, like previously.
Yeah,
The ones that I've ended up, in long-term relationships with, is I've asked them, what's going on? What are we? And they say like, well, you're my girl. Okay, cool.
that's it.
That
That
was
is
just
it.
at the end of it. It was really straightforward.
Yeah, but that's what I'm saying. Very straightforward. But if the guy doesn't do that, then
And the
why are
ones
you
that
still?
haven't,
Yeah, exactly. Then why are you still giving him wife benefits?
yeah. Literally, like I wasted 3.5 years of my life doing that, thinking that the more I do, the more likely he is to get with me and say I'll be his girlfriend. How
Or
come,
change his mind,
or
or
change his
say,
mind?
like,
Like I was deluded, man. I was
you're
super
expecting this
deluded.
guy to wake up one day, turn over to you and say, "Man, you are amazing and I value you."
Yeah,
And he never did that in the beginning, and you're
he never done
expecting
it
it
in the
later?
beginning. But I honestly, listen, I swear to you, on my life, I thought that's what's going to happen. Like, I couldn't understand it, Michael. If I tell you, I so thought it was going to happen. And then when I walked away, I think within 3 months, he was engaged to somebody. And I imagine I was like, what?
See?
Like, what did she have? And then I started to self-sabotage myself.
Well,
And
that's what I'm
no,
saying. Like, ladies, you have to stop thinking this man is going to look at you and say, "You're the one." If he
yeah,
didn't do that in the beginning,
he's not going to
you're
do it.
not the one. What he's waiting for, and again, I'm not out here trying to expose dudes. He's waiting for the girl that he really wants to
Yes.
come along and then
Yes,
go be with her. He
yes.
is
It's just
using you just to occupy his
his
time.
time. Yes, that's just what I was exactly going to say. He's just using you to occupy his time. That's
Until the
it.
woman that he really
Entertain
wants
himself.
comes along. And you
Yep.
ladies can understand it because Anthea just said it. As soon as she broke it off, he found someone else and he was engaged. What
Yep.
does that
Just
tell
like
you?
that. Just like that.
What does that tell you? I'm not saying this towards Anthea, but he was using her to fill up his time.
Yeah.
Say, you know
Yeah.
what? Yeah, this is cool. I want to fill up my day. Until the person that he really wanted came along, he was like,
And let's look, like I've said before, like I've been a single mother and I gave him money, man. Like I really did, to help him out, to help him start a business.
see?
I paid for his car. Oh my goodness. I
But
don't
let's
even,
be on. But let's be honest. You built that man up.
I built him up.
Then what he does is he takes himself and
Yes.
goes with the woman he really wants to be. So you
Yes.
lose out on the benefits when you
Yes.
don't have that heightened level of awareness, because you lose out on the benefits because you built him up. Then he goes off with other women because he was only
Yes.
using you to occupy his time.
Yes. And boy, have I learned the hard way. And that's why I'm here. And I want to tell you, women, please be super aware of these things. If he's asking you to pay for things and he's taking you this and he's not making you his woman, stop going around to his place and cooking for him and cleaning for him and doing all these things for him, because that makes you the dominant, it makes you the male. I've just lost the words for it. You're now no longer feminine. You're taking the masculine energy on
No, he's
and
taking you for a ride. Let's just
and he's
call it what it
taking
is.
you
He's
for a
taking you
ride.
for a
Big
ride.
time. Big time. Don't make my mistakes, ma'am. Honestly.
And trust
Don't do
me,
it.
it's a ride that you want to get off. It's not a ride that you get on and you're like, I want to go again.
No.
Because, as I
No.
told you, women, you got to pay attention to the signs of a man can make you feel good, but is he good for you? Because
Yeah.
he could be using you just to occupy his time until the
Yes.
woman he really wants comes into his life. And then he's like, you out, you in.
Just like that. Just like that, guys. It's not. there's no beating around the bush about
But
it. It just
women do that
happens.
too. Women do, and that's why I tell guys not to stay in that space. If you've confronted a woman, you've told her you liked her, she doesn't reciprocate, but she still keeps you around for time, attention, energy, leave. Because
Move.
until the guy that she really wants comes along, you're just a placeholder.
Yep.
That's
You don't want to be
exactly
that
what you
person.
are.
You don't want that, not especially like, look, man, we're here. We got this life as who we are, like me as Anthony Morpheus, Michael as Michael White. We're not going to be living that again, whether there's afterlife or there. I've no idea. I don't know. However, we are here. We don't want to waste our time with having to experience that, and then you guys later on having to say you feel like you're that heartbreak and why didn't I listen? Why didn't I take notice? Why did I allow it? And then beating yourself up over it. Just, this is why we're here, to be able to say, look, this is what we know. It's not like we're making it up. I've experienced it, man. I've seriously
experienced it being the placeholder guy for years. The placeholder guy, the guy that makes her feel good, the guy that makes her feel great, until the guy that she really wants comes along. And that's why we tell guys and girls, don't do that. Today's specifically about the women. Don't do that, because you're sitting there feeling like you have to prove something to this man, and then you're sitting here proving, exhausting yourself, getting tired emotionally, physically, because again, women do those things to the men that they respect, but they want commitment from those men. That's the thing. They want that man all to themselves. And when he hasn't done that and you still keep trying, you end up like this. Good luck with that. It's like, good luck with that. Like, at that point, you are just running around in a hamster wheel trying to convince yourself that this guy is going to look over and say, Becky, I'm going to build a life with you today. And it's been like 2 years.
Yeah.
Like, it's been 2 years and he hasn't. Leave that man alone.
Yeah, walk away. Have the strength and courage to walk away and value yourself. Honestly,
like, we could tell you to value yourself, but it's up to you guys to do that, because you're sitting here saying, well, my feelings, I feel. It's not about what feels good, it's about what's right.
And what's the experience you're experiencing, you know?
Well, no, because they will use that and say, but he gives me good experiences, he's good to me sometimes.
Yeah, but he's not committed to you. That's the
point.
Exactly.
He hasn't committed to you.
Yeah.
That is the key in the lock. So look, we won't keep you any longer. Sorry. We're going live tomorrow morning. Tongue twister. And hopefully you guys enjoyed the live, and we will catch up with you guys tomorrow morning. See you then.
See you tomorrow. Bye.